guys, Prince of Macedon here, and I'm going to show you a ladder battle for Total War Warhammer. Going into this battle, I think I was ranked 48 or 49, and before I start, I want to apologize to my opponent now, WARonpeACE. And the reason why I'm apologizing is because I had spent 2 or 3 battles before this where my opponents were just, cheesing me with spells, and then in this battle, my opponent's going to cheese rush my general, and I just get pretty frustrated by it, so I make a really douchebag comment later on in the video, which you'll see. I'm not going to edit it out. But I want to apologize to him now, because what I say doesn't really pertain to him, even though he does cheese rush my general a little bit. But, yeah, he was a very fine opponent, and he didn't really do anything wrong. It was just me being really frustrated at all these ladder battles for this evening. Okay, so he went with the vampire counts, and I went with the empire, and you can see that I was so scared of people spirit leeching me to death or Bayuna-ing my troops to death that I brought 2 witch hunters. And one of my YouTube viewers gave me this idea. Like, instead of bringing a white or a light wizard, they recommended bringing 2 witch hunters who were just about the same amount of price as a light wizard on a flying mount. So I decided to try it out. So if a caster got too close to my troops, I can use my accusation on them. Problem with the accusation, it takes a long time to recharge it, and it's also very short range. It's not that easy of a spell to use. It's not really a spell, it's an ability, I suppose. But it's definitely used like a spell. But no magic involved at all. So, this is me finding a hiding place for my demigryphs. I think that's pretty standard whenever you play against vampire counts. You want to hide your demigryphs, otherwise they could get the fate of Bayuna. And that pretty much just wipes them out with 1 or 2 shots. So I was a little disappointed with how little they addressed the direct damage spells with the latest patch. I mean, magic is definitely a key element in the Warhammer universe, but I think it's still a little too strong in my opinion. Like, I don't mind it being strong, but there's a limit to how strong it should be, especially with the vampire counts. As I said, for accusation to use that, there's a huge like reload rate. Whereas these vampire counts, they can spam these Bayuna and Spirit Leech a lot faster than freaking accusation. So it's kind of annoying, to be honest. Not sure if it's like that in the tabletop game, but I don't think accusation should take that long to recharge. Anyhow, I saw how massive my opponent's army was, so I formed a big line with my troops. Just one long line, and if I see that I need to, I can easily change my formation. So he has basically half or double the amount of troops I have. So I didn't want to be outflanked too easily. And if I need to, I could form my single line into double lines. I can even do a triple line. So there's my opponent's army. I saw he had all these flying units, so I pretty much knew what to expect. Because my commander's flying, yeah, it's pretty much going to be one of those Bretonia strategies where you're caught in the air with 1 flying unit, and then Bretonia will send like all of his flying units at you, like, all the Pegasus, and just assassinate your general, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I consider it to be kind of cheesy, because there's no way to avoid that. Like, if you make the mistake of having a flying commander against this lineup. Like, he has Fellbats, Fargeist, he has a flying Vampire Lord, and more Fellbats. Maybe gunpowder units would have helped deter that. But you can't predict when your opponent's gonna have that many flying units. So here's my Witch Hunter. Freaking amazing character, in my opinion. I mean, not like in the game, but like just, the whole idea behind Witch Hunters. They're extremely religious, and they take down practitioners of the witchcrafts. So to be that kind of character, a witch hunter, you had to be overzealous and pretty damn arrogant and close-minded. But at the same time, it's those abilities that makes the Witch Hunter, you know, larger than life and makes you appreciate them even more. But definitely not the kind of person you want to hang out with, like in a social setting. Alright, so my opponent's shifting positions. I see him shifting towards that hill, and I'm thinking, hey, it's really not that big of a hill. But if he wanted to go up it, I was going to go to the left and just basically frustrate him and stay away from the hill. But again, that's not really much of a hill. Now, something with ladders, you can actually play the timer down. Like, if you think you're losing, you can play for a draw. I haven't done it yet, but I'm just saying you could theoretically play for a draw if your situation was bad. Easier said than done, though. So anyhow, at this point, my Witch Hunters have charged their accusation spell. Now, something about the Vampire Lord, they can, is it the Vampire Lord? Yeah, they can regenerate their health. Like completely. So, let's say you get in a big 1 versus 1 battle with your commander and his, and then your health is all the way down, and then you lose your commander, guess what? That Vampire Lord can restore his health like it was nothing. I mean, if you ask me, I think the Vampire counts have way too many advantages. I mean, you might consider that complaining, it is complaining. But damn, they got so many freaking advantages. And then recently with the new patch, they gave him, you know, a pretty expensive cav unit. But nevertheless, it's a cav unit that can almost compete with Demigryphs. So Vampire counts have almost every counter you can get. Alright, so this is me kind of shifting my position this way. And I'm still not sure what my opponent's doing, but I still see those aerial units right there. And so this is going to draw his units out, his flying units. He sees my commander, and he's going to send all of his flying units right at me. And you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. My flying commander is slower than his guys, and I only have 2 units on the ground that can shoot upward, and those are my Witch Hunters. That's not enough to deter that. It might be enough to deter his commander, though, because I can still cast Accusation on it, which I'm going to try. But you will see that even casting 2 accusations from, you know, 2 different Witch Hunters is not going to be enough to bring that commander down, because he is going to restore his health. And it's pretty damn easy to avoid a Witch Hunter accusation, because the range is so short. And if the Witch Hunter player casts his accusation too early, the player who's targeted can easily see that aura around them, and they can run away from it. Just saying. So here I can't run from this. The best thing to do now is just fight them. You know, turn around and fight. But one Empire Captain taking on, what is that, 2 or 3 Felbats, plus 2 Fargeists, plus his flying Vampire Lord, yeah, that's not going to bode well, even in a melee fight. So all I can do is cast Accusation on his commander, and hope my commander can pull something out of this, maybe take down 1 or 2 units before he goes down. So after casting Accusation, I'm going to use my pistols on my Witch Hunters to target his commander. So that Accusation didn't really do too much. It brought his health down to 50% almost. And looks like one of his Felbats is starting to waver a little bit. Not much though. So it's at this point I lose my commander. So the battle hasn't even really started yet, and I've lost my commander. That's pretty hard when you're playing against Vampire counts.
Very well. Enact judgment.
So he's going to pursue my commander, and that's the wise thing to do, because if that commander stopped routing, he would be right there to destroy it. So definitely a good decision to keep chasing it, and also to get away from my Witch Hunters, because I would cast that spell again. But look at his Vampire Lord, his health is 100% again. That freaking regeneration, man. or whatever that spell is called. It's restored his commander completely. So it's as if my commander did absolutely nothing on the battlefield. I did some slight damage to his Fargeist, but that's pretty much it. Put that away. So, if you can't tell by the video length, this is a very long battle. It's going to be a very tactical one. Because playing without your commander is pretty damn hard when you're doing it from the very start of the battle. I don't mind losing my commander halfway through a battle. And I have shown myself, you know, winning when I lost my commander pretty early on. But regardless, it's still not easy to do it. It's a huge handicap, because your troops do take a morale loss. And they don't get that extra unit fighting for them. And, you know, a commander on a flying mount is not a cheap unit. And plus, as I said, it's as if the battle never happened for him, because he restored his general's health completely. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to deploy it, or make it look like I'm going to deploy in that rocky terrain. But don't worry, when I see how close it is to the corner camp, or not the corner, but the border camp, the border line, I'm not going to stay there. I'm actually going to move away from that spot. What I liked about this terrain was the roughness of it. It would screw up his pathfinding a little bit. And in a situation where I have no commander, that would be very helpful, to say the least. And if you look at the balance bar, it does not like me at all since I lost my commander. It is not a pretty situation here. But, as you know, you can't win a fight if you quit. There's no hope of winning if you quit. So what I wanted to do was make a contest out of this. If he was going to beat me, I was going to make it as hard as hell. And if I needed to, I would be far enough where I might be able to play for a draw. I've never actually done it in Warhammer before. But theoretically, I could fight until the timer goes down. So that's another line right there, which I'm not actually going to deploy there. So a lot of this is playing head games with my opponent. You know, making it look like I'm gonna have like the best defensive terrain, and I was still going for defensive terrain, or at least use those trees to keep my demogryphs hidden. Give me something here to work with. But if he hesitated, he would have to fight the timer, which would make him screw up his strategy. So a lot of this was playing head games with my opponent, especially considering that he freaking rushed my commander with aerial units at the beginning. I really wish there was a way you could just land your aerial units, like especially a commander on an aerial unit, because I feel like in a situation like this where you realize, hey, my commander is an easy target for his flying units, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it at that point. So I feel like if there's a way you can land your commander, that would be awesome. I mean, not you know, fight a unit on the ground and then land it. I'm talking about an actual feature where you can put your commander on the ground and let him just fight there. So yeah, this is me fighting without my commander. I see his aerial units getting closer, so I'm going to just deploy close to this forest here. And look at that timer. I'm totally working that timer. And again, because the tactical situation favors him, it's going to force him to make more aggressive decisions, because he wants his win. This is ladder after all, so he wants that win, and I'm gonna make him work for it. Like, don't make anything easy for your opponent, like how I made it easy for him to take out my commander. But again, you know, I mean, at that point at the beginning of the battle, it's like, geez, what can I do? Like, my general was pretty much dead once the battle started. Just look at all those freaking flying units there. Bum, Ba-bum, ba-bum. That said, definitely a pleasure to be using witch hunters. Like, I know their recharge rate is pretty damn slow, you know, to get accusation back, but damn, they're freaking badass units. Anyways, I see these fellbats flying nearby. I'm gonna use my pistols on my witch hunters to just harass them a little bit. I don't really intend to smoke an entire unit with just witch hunters like that. Alright, so at this point, he did uncover my Demogryph Knights. So I can't rely upon them using a surprise, you know, charge out of the woodworks. I have to assume my opponent knows they're there now. I mean, realistically, he might have actually not read what kind of unit they were when he got the notice that there was a hidden unit revealed. But you always have to expect the worst. It makes you a better commander if you do. Granted, you could get into the psychology of your opponent and assume he didn't. So, maybe it's not the best thing if you assume. Even though you should assume he knows what's up. So yeah, here I'm still trying to formulate a strategy for this. But here is his weakness here. You see how far his skeletal spearmen are deployed ahead of his army? That's really far. So at this point, I'm like, hey, maybe if I charge his skeleton warriors there, I might be able to destroy them immediately, and then kind of even the odds a little bit. Granted, even if I do kill them, I'm still a commander down, which means I don't have that morale buff that he does. But yeah, I'm gonna chance it. This is my only opportunities. You know, you have to grab opportunity by the balls if it presents itself in this kind of situation. So I'm gonna take all my cav out and try to charge his skeletal warriors. That's gonna force him to fight on the ground now. He sees my Demogryphs coming out, so he's gonna have to land his flying units. And when he lands them, that's gonna make his units very vulnerable to my Demogryphs. At the same time, his commander's in the mix, so I'm going to use my witch hunters to try to cast accusation on him again. But we already know that he can heal his commander like 100%. So what I want to do is just take out his commander completely. So I'll use my Demogryphs to do it. So do you see how sloppy my opponent's playing now because of the timer? Like, he sees it's 7.5 minutes. He wants to rush in there and just destroy me. He thinks this kind of charge will break the morale of my troops. And that's a pretty reasonable line of thinking. With all those flying monsters that he has, you know, there should be some kind of terror bonus happening. But as I keep telling people, you know, sure it is bad when you lose your commander, but it's not always an immediate loss. It could be, but not always. You don't know unless you continue the battle. So right here you can see some of his fellbats are starting to rout and some of his skeletal warriors are starting to rout. Although the ones on the right aren't routing as fast as I want them to. They are starting to crumble though. But I want to free up those units on the right so I can take them and swing them towards the middle. Because look at that balance bar. I am still losing this battle according to the balance bar. I have no commander, and my troops are getting hammered by all these giant monsters that are flying in the air. Although to fight me now, they have to land, because I have no more flying units. So at this stage, I want to pull my Demogryph Knights out, because they're no longer useful in this kind of fight. They're only useful if they're charging, so what I want to do is take them out and then use them for cycle charges. Because all of my troops are committed, I have no reserves. No reserves whatsoever, so I have to rely upon my Demogryph Knights to pull out and cycle charge. That's my new reserve. So here I'm trying to break through, bust these monsters up. By destroying these monsters, I can theoretically free up my units on the right. So cycle charges, try to kill his commander, free up units on the right, that's my game plan. And if you'll notice, the balance bar is getting slightly closer to being being even now. Slightly. I'm still losing though. But the cool thing is, his commander's on the ground. He doesn't seem to have any regard for his commander's safety. He's probably cocky to the fact that he can recharge his commander's health at will. So I want to take advantage of that that confidence level that he has in his commander. I want to try to take out his commander before he realizes just how low his health is actually getting. Because once he dies, he can't restore his commander anymore. But let's say he pulled him out right now. If he managed to do so, he could totally heal himself back up. Anyways, there's a unit on the ground coming forward to the center. I was getting a little bit nervous by that, because the center fight is where it's at, and if that specialist unit right there could turn the tide in the center, I'm completely dead. And see his commander did switch targets here. He switched to location 2, he's on the other side, and I was kind of upset by that, because now his commander has the ability to heal himself again. But that health is really low, so I want to try to take out his commander before he's able to heal himself another time. With my Demogryphs, I'm going to charge his Necromancer Specialist right there, and just try to break him up in the center here. Using my Witch Hunters to target his commander. And he's going to use his commander to charge down my Witch Hunter. So it's a very desperate battle. And look at the balance bar, once again, it's going back towards my opponent's way. So this is why I like this battle so much. It's such a seesaw line of events. It's a super desperate battle. I feel like all my battles with the vampire counts is always going to be this close. So anyways, yeah, you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna cycle charge with my Demogryphs. Go in, get out. Go in, get out. That's the only thing that's gonna save my army now, because since my troops are already engaged, there's nothing I can do except pull my cav out and hope for cycle charges to break him down. So I see his Necromancer coming out. I'm gonna charge him, because if his Necromancer's on the ground, then he can't cast spells. And I'm gonna continue the charge and strike the backs of his grunts on the ground. Maybe take out some of his monsters on the ground too. I hate when I see that, when it says Cravens, your warriors flee. That's never a good thing. But regardless of that, the balance bar is going back closer to even again. This is a desperate battle, guys. Sigmar! Look at the blood on my Witch Hunter on the unit portrait on the left. You see that? He's bloody. It's a bloody battle, guys. Super bloody indeed. So yeah, as I said, these ladder battles, they do have a 20-minute timer on it. So there's like 3 minutes and 5 seconds left. At speed. So look at that. On the side there, I managed to free up those units finally. I couldn't believe how long those freaking skeleton warriors lasted against my greatswords. I thought they would have popped immediately. But now I can finally send those units on the flanks to assist in the battle in the middle, where it actually matters. And I'm going to continue my cycle charges into his giant monsters, his Necromancer, and anything else like his skeletal warriors. But I gotta pull those Demogryphs out as soon as I can. If I lose them, then I'm still... I would not be guaranteed a victory. I'm still not guaranteed a victory. Look how close this battle is. And remember, he has... Well, he doesn't have a commander anymore. But he still has that freaking Necromancer right there. And his men are still lasting quite a long time. So, cycle chargers it is. Anyhow, at this point, you know, you can see... Well, it wasn't really this battle. It was... I think I played 1 or 2 battles before this. It was those battles that got me mainly frustrated. And I got doubly frustrated when he basically assassinated my commander, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I'm going to be posting some pretty douchey comments here. Not the first comment where I just say, you know, I have skills, but more so the second comment where I complained that he was using those cheesy spells. Because he didn't really use any cheesy spells, to be honest. Sure, he restored his health 100%, but that's not really a cheesy spell. The only thing cheesy that he did was you know, buying all those flying units to take out my flying commander. That was the only cheesy thing he did. He fought really well, guys.
Sigma calls! Sigma calls!
So it's not skills, baby, that I was concerned about. It's this comment. Good game, but lame on the OP cheese spells. I should not have said that, because I think that diminishes his gameplay, which was pretty damn good in this fight. And again, he didn't really use OP spells in this fight. It was more so the previous two battles where guy just kept using big unit on me. I still beat that guy, but it's just frustrating sometimes. I definitely think magic should be a, you know, an important part of these battles, though, because it is freaking Warhammer. It's just, I'm still waiting for a better balancing of it. So, anyhow, look at that timer. There is 33 seconds left in this battle, and that's the actual timer. That's not the replay timer. This is the live footage. Although right now I'm not talking live. The commentary is obviously not live. But yeah, look, now his guys are starting to break, and there was only like 21 seconds left. And I thought Leave won. Pyrrhic victory, though. So anyhow, good game to my opponent. Very good game. And I'm going to show you the new ladder ranking after I beat this guy. So not a single vampire survived. They're kind of like Spartans. They fight to the last. Alright, so here's the leaderboard. Current ranking 47. Hope you guys enjoyed this ladder battle. Very desperate.